Welcome back. So I am returning to Endless Space 2. I thought this was a game that we had pretty much 100% completed and we're kind of at the end of it. But about a month ago, they actually reworked how the whole Nakalim Empire functions and kind of how their special traits are. Because I must admit, I did not really like the campaign with the Nakalim when I played with them. I thought they were kind of challenging and just kind of felt bad playing them. I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool that you got a bunch of technology at the start, but all their other debuffs and things were like that were just not worth it. And then in the late game, I was able to finally take over, and I never really kind of understood how they interacted with the academy, so I feel like I kind of missed out on that whole area. And then with a lot of the other updates that they've been doing on the game, it sounds like they rebalanced some of the combat and other traits, so I'm a little curious to see how that works. Now, I'm probably only going to beat the campaign again with the Nakalim, just because it sounds like that's the faction that truly did get reworked, and the other factions are still pretty much the same. It's just the balancing of the combat, and they moved around a little bit of the technology and things. But I was actually surprised that several people were asking me about this, and I was like, no, I'm done with that game. Why would I want to go back to that? And then because I didn't have it installed on my computer, so I didn't see that they did a bunch of these update things. And then somebody had mentioned, yeah, they kind of reworked some of these factions with their updates, and so maybe you should really look into that and see if that's enough that you would be interested in playing it again. And so I installed it, and I saw the release for that update, and I'm like, yeah, okay, it sounds like they've really made some changes here, and we'll see how it goes. So if nothing else, we will do this campaign. So I'm going to be playing as the Nakalim. Now, I may not read all the events and all that kind of stuff because my first playthrough, the story and everything is still the same, so we'll kind of bypass that, but kind of looking through their faction affinity. So the Nakalim seek relics of their ancient glory, which bring them power and knowledge. So the effects: relics can be discovered and collected by the fleets, and they generate science when unassigned. Spend relics to create a temple on a planet, removing the resource generation debuffs that happens. You can put it on heroes to make them more powerful. You can have new faction traits which can be used, such as building cathedrals for powerful system bonuses to increase the maximum relic slots, and you can also vassalize minor factions to acquire their simulation trait while keeping them independent and continuing to receive faction resources. Any fleets they produce are automatically transferred to you, and your base planet has minus 50% of the generation. So these guys definitely are like this empire that was real powerful in the past, and you're just kind of been reawoken, and now you're just going back into the universe again and trying to get your government and your faction revved up again. So we are going to have all 12 empires on. I'm going to change the speed to fast just so it helps make things go a little bit quicker. We are going to play on the endless difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty setting in the game, and we are going to have the pirates also sent to endless difficulty. The galaxy is going to be sent to a random type. There's going to be a few constellations just to help expedite the playthrough itself. When you have this many guys, I do think it makes sense to do colossal galaxies, and we'll do a medium density. And then in terms of these advanced settings here, we will have the academy set to the most powerful difficulty. It did before, it was hard, I think was the highest difficulty, but we'll send it to endless. And then for the expansion, we'll also send it to endless as well, just to see what that comes out to be. We will have all random events and quests enabled, and we will have every victory condition enabled as well. So we'll see which faction can complete a quest objective first, and we are gonna have like I said, every faction here. And I think just kind of keeping these at the basics is good, because certain factions like certain planets more than others, so I think just kind of keeping it the default makes it so one faction doesn't get an artificial bonus compared to the others. So let's see how this goes.
I look out and see the glory and power of the Nakalim Empire. Our trade routes bring the wealth of worlds to our doorstep. And our military maintains the peace. Now, the messengers of our gods awaken my people from their sleep, calling upon our strength. Prophecy said our time would come. I say, muster the fleets, for that time is now.
The royal family of the Nakalim, your family, have ruled this empire since its inception. Worshippers of the lost, they flourished under the benevolent guidance of the one they called Sobra, who formed a loose Dyson structure around their planet. The murder of their god, by the Endless, however, followed by scarcity and decline, drove them into a period of hibernation. Awakened now, as their prophecies foretold, they are ready to reach out into the galaxy, rediscover their ancient temples and relics, and retake all that was once theirs. All that will be yours.
Alright, so kind of moving on. So beliefs, not breakthroughs. So our planets don't develop any science. We get 0.5% or half a production on systems for science. We get 300 plus influence costs to receive technologies, and we lose 50% of the science we could get from ship destruction. We got Forgotten Lore, so we have the first 2 tiers of technology unlocked to start with. We have Slumbering Ruins, which I think is a rework. So now systems marked with Slumbering Ruins can be awakened to recover resources, population, and system upgrades. To awaken a ruin, send a fleet to an uncolonized system and use Awaken action of the fleet, or build the related system improvement on a conquered system. Okay, so I don't know if that means I have to use a colony ship to do that, or any fleet can really do that. Beware that other empires possessing this trait can also awaken ruins, even if those belong to you. Wait, how would that work? Oh, because it's just going to give me resources and other benefits. Okay, so it's not going to give me control of the location. Each faction with this trait will have 3 of these ruins scattered across non-capital systems. Oh, so these are just randomly around the map. Okay. Ruins you have not yet discovered will be revealed when you receive the first step of your faction quest. Okay. Well founded. Start with your initial area revealed, so that should be good. Apathetic colonists. Minus 25% of the food sent to your colonies sent from colonies to outposts, so it's going to be harder for us to grow and get ready. And then each of those outposts that we make will make 25% less food, so it's going to slow us down. And Antediluvian alumni can donate converted or conquered systems to the Academy in exchange for relation points. Starts with the Academy revealed. 20% of minus 20% Academy diplomacy relation point cost on Empire. So we'll see how this goes here. Should definitely be pretty interesting. I hope they really rework this well, and then it's going to be an interesting campaign for us. Because I definitely felt that they were a pretty slow burn with all the debuffs that you had at the start. It's like, yeah, you got all this stuff to help for the first 2, but you just kind of stall out because a lot of the other stuff you just couldn't get there. So let's see how it goes. And I think they said they reworked all these battle tactics too, but this looks pretty similar to where it was before, so I think we'll end up just kind of keeping our default, and then we'll see if we upgrade some other ones here. Yeah, because I mean this is just shield weapons, get dust and science for destroyed ships, then shield absorption, and then hull absorption, which is defense to projectile weapons. So we have a bunch of the map already visualized due to our faction trait, so that's fantastic. So that gives me the opportunity to kind of strategically be able to plan out where we want to expand to. It's also going to give me the ability to start establishing relations with a bunch of these factions. I already got 20% visualization here. Now, these guys have plus 40% influence per behemoth, whatever. Yeah, otherwise nothing too exciting here, so that's not a very good faction trait, unfortunately. And that's right, I need to have influence to be able to start relationships, so I guess getting all those things going is going to be very important for us. This one's overpopulation penalties and plus 10 happiness on sterile planets, so I actually think they are a very good faction that you'd want to take over, because that can be huge for you while you're having trouble with your happiness. We'll just kind of open up these traits here. Plus 40 dust per strategic point in system, so that could be a great economic boon. You can see relics already. You can see other factions. Kind of gone through these. These guys are down here. Plus 5 happiness per fertile system, so that's not bad. Yep, we got the nebular clouds. Culturally resistant. Your system costs 25% more influence to get taken over. That one's usually not a huge issue unless you run into areas where you're capturing locations where they have still tons of influence around you. But you just go to war and then you don't have to worry about the passive takeover. It's only if you're at peace does that take effect. Alright, so I guess we'll take a look here. We got several systems. We've got one of those special systems down here, which will be great because the Academy gives you a mission where you've got to take over one of those special systems, then you get a high-tier hero. So I'll definitely want to take that location, but make sure not to colonize that planet until we're ready. I think we've got one of those special locations down here. And I think because we can see where everything is, it might make sense to just have our hero become a fleet captain and then just run around and use them to explore all these, you know, curiosities, get the experience with that, and then we can use them to collect relics too. Just kind of remembering how this all works. Now ideally I would increase our ships to higher tier, but we don't even have any of the blue or yellow resources yet, so I guess that doesn't really make sense because a lot of that upgraded stuff requires that. So I mean, looks like we're on a spiral galaxy, so probably just coming down this way. That's right, you double click, that's how you can start playing around here. Alright, it's coming back to me here. Sorry, it's taking me a little bit of time to refresh my memory how this all works. Let's see, so we got the different planets. Our science is absolutely abysmal. We're already almost full with our planet, so I guess we gotta start colonizing. We'll get this going for the additional industry, because that'll help us colonize additional planets, I think. Just kind of remembering all these things do. So I think it usually makes a lot of sense to focus on getting your industry up, and then if you have quick ways of getting your science going, it makes sense, or your production, and then usually by all the turns you're using to build stuff, you'll be naturally just getting your population going, but towards later into the game, then I think it makes a lot more sense to focus on your food production because it helps with your colonies and also to get your populations going. So I think by focusing on all these things, that should help us build as quickly as possible here. Now these guys got 7 movement. I do have the ability to put more probes down here. So I think we'll just use regular probes. I don't think we need to upgrade our weapon or armor necessarily, because that's just going to make the ships more expensive, whereas we do want to get the probes out as fast as possible. So we'll merge these into one fleet. We'll put our hero there, and we'll start upgrading his ship. So we'll give him another one of those to get him up above 7 so he doesn't accidentally slow down our fleets. We'll get them some probes. I like the slugs as a main weapon because then they can shoot missiles out of the air, because early on, at least before, missiles were by far one of the most popular builds to do. That'll get us some spuds. I don't really care about the ability, but it does increase our happiness, so that works out. And then, I think we're just going to come down here, and we'll have all those curiosities to start exploring to get experience. Now we focus on our technology here. And typically I like to rush getting the market going, because if you can hire a bunch of heroes, that can definitely improve your abilities to really take off, because having a good governor is important. But I also want to have the curiosities going, since we're trying to explore as much as we can, get as many resources as we can, level up our hero as fast as we can, and then be able to really ideally select whatever guys we can get for populations, everything else. Yeah, this one gives you additional systems, some increased influence. I'm not quite sure what I all want to do. My science is abysmal, as you can tell by 30 turns for that to be ready. Yeah, that's our hero, the Academy. Power level 1. Got our 1 planet and our fleets. Our government is set to a republic, so I generally like to switch those to different so we can get, I think it's the Federation that I usually use, and that's the one that allows you to have increased ability to colonize planets depending on the level of your heroes, because I typically win by conquest. Now that'll make people unhappy, so I don't think I want either of those. The other one makes them happy but slows our industry, and we're already going really slow, so we just need to pop off as fast as possible. We can colonize 8 planets before we have any issues, so we got plenty of time here. So I guess we'll find out how this hidden thing works, and obviously we're incredibly important. Or incredibly important, that's kind of overstatement. We're got higher points than everybody else because we've become more advanced. So now when you're hacking, you hit spacebar if you're not sure how to do this, and you can kind of come down. Now it's going to take 7 turns, which is kind of bullshit, but ideally you want to hack your closest neutral locations, because you can start to increase your influence over there, which gives you the ability to take them over, and it also increases the amount of resources that they give you. And as you get closer, they'll start to give you some missions if you want to take them over that way, or you can just do a flat out purchase with influence. So you have the option to do a quest where you pay some dust, and then if you complete the quest, then they ally with you. You pay them with the influence. I guess we have the ability to assimilate as well. Alright, here's that awaken. It looks like we have our hero fleet selected, so maybe I don't need to use our colony ship for this. Let's let's just take a look, and then I can see what we have for curiosities here to decide what planet I want to invade. Or I shouldn't say invade, but colonize. Sounds less dramatic there. And I imagine it's probably this one. It's got the titanium, or tiberium, or whatever it's called. Yeah, titanium. It's got a nice amount of food, so that'll help them colonize quicker. And then it also... Oh, shit. So we just start out with the planet already. So it literally just gives you another tier planet. Holy shit. That's a really good ability, especially early on when you're going real slow. So this should help us pop off even faster. So again, I want to try to get my industry up as much as possible. Then we'll make some decisions about where to go from there. So now I've got my colony ship, so I can colonize somewhere else. I'll probably come down to here, I imagine. You guys are just kind of hanging out. I guess I didn't upgrade everybody, so we have now. And unfortunately, now that I've colonized this place, it would be way faster if I take it from links here. So if you right click up there, then you can cancel your hacking, but then you suffer a penalty to your bandwidth, which allows you to do things. So it would have been 7 turns, but by going here it's now 3. So that just cut it in half. So that was huge for us. So that'll help us for sure. And now that we've got 2 different systems, or I shouldn't say systems, but 2 different planets going, that's going to start increasing our influence. Now this enhanced astronavigation, when it talks about free movement, what that is it is the movement when you're not following star lanes, like if you're cutting between. So if you're in the star lanes, it doesn't help your movement, but if you are in the crossing, you're good. So I think it's more important that we just get the probes going so that could get refreshed as possible, so we can go from location to location to keep exploring these curiosities as fast as possible. Now, on other playthroughs, you'd be sending some probes out to also help investigate some of the star lanes so you know what you're looking at, but we don't have to do that since we already have full vision on all the systems around us. So that's definitely pretty huge. And it looks like we're starting our quest now. So investigate 12 curiosities or build 4 food improvements. So we're already running around with our guys set up to explore curiosities, so I think that's by far going to be the best thing for us here. And again, if you want to know what the quests actually say and kind of follow along with their actual story, I would look at my first playthrough with the Nakalim, because I'll read all that stuff out and all these events and everything. But I'm going to assume that you've watched the other playthroughs and have an idea of the story and campaign, so I'm just going to kind of go through here, because the main objective with this playthrough is to see how the new Nakalim campaign feels and see how the reworked combat and other upgrades feel while you're playing them here. So I should probably start praising some guys, since I do have some influence. And as you can see, that costs 5. It'll stay around for 5 turns, and it goes up with the relation +4 every turn. And once you get to 100, you know, you'll get the maximum benefits. But if you saw that bar, it was broken into thirds or fourths. I don't remember which. And those are, once you start hitting those different tiers, then they start giving you different bonuses. So like they'll give you some resources, they'll let you restore your ships when you're on their planet, things like that. So all that will help you. Alright. So we'll move over here. Start exploring your curiosities. Now the other thing you want to do if you're trying to min-max your influence is you make sure you praise, because the more you praise them, the more it costs. So you do the 1, and then you explore their curiosities while it's still under the influence, and you'll get additional bonuses for revealing their curiosities for them. So they'll get their influence even higher in terms of the rate that they like you. and then so you'll kind of maximize your funds. So then in 3 turns when I'm ready to start influencing them or praising them further, that will help us. Now this will give us more resources, but it only allows it so our original population would grow. So I don't know if we really want to do that necessarily. And as you can see down below, a lot of that's per population, so it would say in that right lower quadrant there how much influence it would cost total. So we've got the probes here for the maximum number. You know, the systems, if you're going to put them on the governor, this would increase the vision of our fleet, which is another bonus here. But again, that free movement doesn't do a lot for us. But I'll just show you just to verify. Yes, that hasn't changed. So the movement hasn't changed because we're in the star lane, but if we were crossing across the galaxy and not in the lanes, then that would have increased our movement. So I just want to make sure that didn't change. So we'll have our colony ship here. I think we want to colonize, because what you got to be careful with is within a couple turns the pirates will start to show up, and you don't want them to, one of them will show up next to your planet. Now ideally I would take over that legendary planet here because it has the best you know, characteristics. But what I don't want is if you get the objectives already completed, it just kind of adds the number. So it'd say, oh, you need to, you know, take over 3 planets, not 2. So I think if I just take over this system, well, now I'm not sure. Maybe I'll wait to see if I can get the objective. But I think that's what I'm going to do, is I think I'm going to try to take over that planet, but not take over the, or I should say I'll take the system but not take over the planet. And I think that'll allow me to cheese and be ready to rapidly complete the objective when I get it from the Academy. I'm just debating whether I want to use that colony ship to take relics, because you have to keep them in place for a couple of turns in order to do that. And we'll start colonizing some of these other planets to maximize our resource generation. Got the happiness building, we're content. Now when you're working with these planets, you know, you'll fill up one of those slices with a population. If you only have one population, then the population that gets produced will be whatever's there. But if you have mixed population, then different ones will just randomly be selected. Now you can force certain colonists to, or certain populations to be created by investing your strategic points into forcing breeding programs and things, but for the most part I don't do that. I just take the roll of the dice and then just kind of maximize which areas, which people have traits that would be best on the planet. But if you really want to min-max, you can really, there's certain factions and populations that are like, you'll get bonuses if they're on fertile planets, or you'll get bonuses if they're on sterile planets, or cold planets, or hot planets. And so if you really want to min-max, you just transition the populations to different systems that transfer populations to different systems that have the traits and planets that will maximize it. But for the most part, I just find that that just takes too much time, and I'm too lazy to micromanage those things. So here we are. Typically you'd want to hack the economy later on, once you start getting a bunch more bonuses. Early on you want to get to a higher tiers of friendliness, because they'll give you higher amounts of resources just from that straight up. So as you can see, I still have 3 turns of praise there. We've got all these systems all the way down to here. We can see those guys over that way. We're still producing stuff here. We'll try to get the happiness up, because that'll give us bonuses within our systems. We are getting our population going here because we have such a large system that I do want to get some more people so we can start building stuff even quicker. Because especially if I'm going to start populating some of these other locations, we're going to want to get that going as fast as possible. Because what I'll do is when I'm populating new planets, is I'll send the food from links here. And that, since we're going to have the debuffs going already, let's see here. So it has an immediate cost to pass the law, and then it's law maintenance to influence to keep it going. So here we go. So now we've changed the relation. So I'm now sovereign. So that means, you see how I go there? So other people would have difficulty taking them over. If you do the assist, you'll get the quest. And as you can see, I'm getting 22 influence per turn. I have the praise, the curiosity revealed, and then the hacking relation. So that's how I ended up getting that so high. Now I could use the colony ship to take over this place too, because it has those red resources, but I don't know if that necessarily makes a lot of sense because I haven't even upgraded my ability to be able to use those red resources yet. And now we've completed one of the quests. So we need a level 5 hero to apply, and then we'll get 60 resources and 2 relics. Get you over here, start unlocking more curiosities. But I mean, you can see I have the capability to use 12 probes here, so this should really allow us to just rapidly expand, and now we've gained a level with everything that's been going on here. I could assign the relic, which would give us increased healing, increased experience, assignment duration, and then it increased damage, evasion, shield capacity, fleet health. If I put it on a hero that's the governor, then I'll get plus 15% resource generation, and then we'll get happiness per temples that are on the location. I mean, it's always nice to have some experience every turn too, but I think we're going to get more resources in the long run probably by getting the probes, plus 2 maximum probe stock. So let's do that. Alright, so we got that over here. We're going to move south. We're going to keep advancing. That way we can start taking all these resources and everything else. And then I'm going to have to make a decision on which area of these I want to colonize. Start sending him down this way. And then I think once we end this turn, I'm going to end up calling it quits for today's episode. So kind of a slow burn as I'm refamiliarizing myself with the game. Yeah, I just can't make up my mind which one of these I want, so... Alright, well, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please give my channel a like and subscribe. Encourage me to post more content for you. Have a great day.